What's up, Banter fam? Welcome back to the show. And today we are going to be talking about whether or not altcoins are gearing up for a massive rally. In today's show, I'm going to run you through the blueprint of when you should be looking at buying altcoins, what indicators are going to signal to go heavier into altcoins versus Bitcoin, and then I'm going to help you with the execution. So some trade plans based on some of our favorite alts, and some trends that you can follow to hopefully time the altcoin rally as best that you can. Now, you're not going to get it perfect, but I do believe that these indicators will help you do a better job at getting good entries and getting good exits than if you just randomly trade altcoins. So I put a lot of effort into the steps. I even have my notes ready beside me with a pretty detailed breakdown of when I'm looking at buying alts and the plan that I use to buy alts, because I think the major question everyone is asking right now, look, Bitcoin's pumped. It's had like a 50-60% move from the bottom. When are altcoins going to catch that bid, that elusive bid that people have been waiting for months? And I think today's show should help you answer that question. And I also have my own take on that, which I'm going to share with you. So smash the like button if you're excited. I think today's show is going to be super, super practical and very informative and more educational. And at the end of the show, I also have a few alts that I'll show you that I think are good candidates that are showing strength. And I'll explain the reasons behind that as well. Just a quick update before we get into the three indicators that I use to work out whether it's a time to get into alts or not, is Bitcoin. I just want to talk about Bitcoin quickly. This is actually one indicator, so technically you could say there's four indicators for altcoins. We really want Bitcoin to just maintain strength. That's really the name of the game when it comes to Bitcoin. It doesn't need to do anything crazy. It's already had a huge move since its range lows to breaching its range highs up to 30, 32. Bitcoin doesn't need to go to 40, 50, 60K for altcoins to perform well. Really, all we're looking for is Bitcoin to hold above this level here at the 29K level, above the previous range, which we broke out above. I do think, though, there is a very strong likelihood that Bitcoin pushes to 32. This is that key psychological level that we've identified has been the many yearly opens in the past around the 30K level, and also that key level that acted as the initial rejection point that resulted in the massive dump around the time of the lunar collapse last year. So that's a very key level for Bitcoin. Because everyone's expecting 32, I wouldn't be surprised if we do push up there that we could extend a little bit further than that. Usually when everyone expects a number, we don't really get it. And I think everyone wants 32, or everyone's shorting 32, that there's a possibility we deviate above and go to 34. But in general, I expect this to be the next key level for Bitcoin. But for me, anything over 30K or even 29.1, which is that top of the range, is what I think Bitcoin needs to hold for altcoins to perform well. So that's a little bonus indicator for you. And I think for Bitcoin, we just wanted to hold above that level. Look, there is a possibility if we do get that major pullback at some point that we come back down to the range highs. For me, it's this 24.5 level. So this range here that we used as a platform to test the range highs multiple times. That zone for me would be your last kind of bullish zone for Bitcoin to maintain general bullish structure. Of course, if we do get down that low, that would probably result in a major pullback for altcoins, but in my opinion would be a decent zone to start considering buying, given that this would probably act as a pretty strong level of support. So if you're a real bear, or if you just want to pull back to accumulate more, that's probably your big zone. But I do think we could see a rotation sooner than that based on the indicators I'm going to present to you in a couple minutes. One of them is obviously Ethereum, which has been performing really strongly. And this is also a bonus one. It's not part of my official list of 3, but obviously the Ethereum USD pair is something that's very important because Ethereum tends to lead a lot of the altcoins. The alts follow Ethereum more closely than they follow Bitcoin because Ethereum is viewed more closely to the altcoins. Bitcoin is viewed by some people as, digital gold, speculating on it being an inflation hedge, has a slightly different narrative to ETH, which is, an immutable, decentralized layer 1 network, which has many systemic effects on the entire L2 and L1 ecosystems because EVM compatible networks, we do see that liquidity flow between them. So Ethereum has a much stronger correlation to alts. So typically what we see in alt seasons or alt rallies is Bitcoin profits rotating into ETH, and then we'll see a rotation into layer ones, mid caps, small caps. Sometimes that rotation gets front run slightly and the layer ones pump first. But in general, when we do see like alt seasons, the Ethereum USD pair tends to run first. And that's kind of what we're seeing at the moment. We're seeing a substantial run in the Ethereum price. It has been lagging Bitcoin for quite some time, but this is actually the line here, which represents the Shanghai upgrade. We're responding quite positively out of the upgrade, probably because a lot of people are now realizing that the supply pressure, and this is something that I've stated many times on my previous shows, wasn't actually as bad as some market participants were alluding to, which means that basically instead of being a buy the rumor, sell the news event, it became a sell the rumor, buy the news event. And this is because of a factor that I also mentioned a couple of weeks ago, which is essentially the Shanghai upgrade being viewed by many as a net bearish catalyst, rather than a net bullish catalyst, which clearly the merge was viewed as. So it kind of did the opposite of what happened with the merge, which is my other line here, where we saw a pump into the merge and then a massive dump. This is the opposite. We saw a dump into the Shanghai upgrade and then a massive pump. Not totally unexpected, but actually quite good for Ethereum and also quite good for altcoins. So on ETH right now, in terms of its USD pair, it's just hovering above range highs. We do want a consolidation above range high. That is what we are currently getting. It's pushing into the 2K zone, not a level that I'm going to be longing, because it has been a level of significant resistance. We see in July 22, we rejected, as well as August 22, and now we are testing again. Is an area of resistance. I am expecting a slight pullback, maybe into this mid-range region at 19.3 to 19.5, but you do have your next target at 22, 2.2K. So that's kind of like this next level that I'm looking at if we break 2K. I don't know if we go too much higher just for now without like a pure catalyst, but look, any relative strength to Ethereum versus Bitcoin is good for alts, and any relative consolidation in line with the Bitcoin consolidation above key levels like range high is good for Ethereum as well. So I use the USD pair. So that's basically where ETH's sitting and Bitcoin's sitting, both looking quite bullish, both looking strong. Both could have a pullback to their key levels. Bitcoin, you've got the 29.1. ETH, you have the 18.5 to, I think, probably gets to like 19.5. But that doesn't really matter. That's just speculation. That's just, predictions. What matters is having a plan, a well thought out and developed plan for how you're going to approach the altcoin rotation if we do get one. So let's get into that now. Let's talk about my 3 steps, which outline when I think you're going to get that signal to get into alts and how to actually get into alts, and try and time it as well as you can. Because as I said before, you're never going to time it perfectly, but you can time it so in a way that you're minimizing risk and also exposing yourself to relative upside. So the first indicator of the 3 that I look at is ETH BTC. So what you want to see from ETH BTC is an uptrend. So the trend is your friend until the end of the trend. That's a saying that Kyle showed me. And this holds true with Ethereum, Bitcoin, as it does with basically any coin, right? So the ETH BTC chart, very important right now. It shows the strength of Ethereum versus Bitcoin. We did have multiple bounces off the lows at 6.2. This is a very strong thing. For me, this indicates that the low could be in if we make a higher high. So it's very important now for Ethereum to clear this 6.8 level and make that higher high, because even if we come back down, we're making higher lows, we're making higher highs, and that would be very good for Ethereum, and it would show to us, at least on the daily chart, that we're starting to confirm an uptrend from the 20th of March. So this is the zone that I'm looking for ETH BTC to clear, and ETH BTC is that key indicator of Ethereum strength and therefore alt strength. You also have the other option of kind of trying to play the support game, which is kind of like rotating into alts or Ethereum at its support at 6.2. I think that's also a decent play, either looking at the breakout or looking at the significant pullback, because if we do get that big pullback, you've got very clear invalidation below this zone. So it becomes quite easy to trade alts when you do have a clear invalidation level. So that's what I'm looking for ETH. We're targeting this level here, and ETH BTC strength is going to be your number 1 indicator of whether to get into altcoins. The second indicator you want to look at is Bitcoin dominance bouncing. So all these indicators you want to use in confluence with each other. Bitcoin dominance has, so this chart's inverted, by the way, just in case you're confused. So if it goes up, that means dominance is coming down, and if it goes down, that means dominance is going up. The reason I've done it like this is to help mentally contextualize where we sit in terms of BTC dominance. I find sometimes inverting the charts helps me actually read the chart slightly better. And if we invert the Bitcoin dominance, so if it pumps, meaning that's good for alts, we can see that we're currently testing our support here. So we've tested this level multiple times. This is the 48% level, and this is a very, very strong level of support. If you draw it inverted, if it's the other way around, it's a strong level of resistance for the BTC dominance. So what I think could happen now is dominance starts to reverse, because that's what we've seen historically. Now, if we do get a massive pump, and we break past the 48 and confirm, then that would be a signal to at least start considering cutting some of your old positions. But for now, just based on what we've seen historically from BTC dominance, if this level can hold and we do see an uptrend starting to form, so you're looking for that higher low, and then you're looking for higher highs as well on the shorter time frames, that would be clearing this 46.72 level. That is very good for alts, and that's a sign that alts could perform and Bitcoin dominance can trend back down to the 42 to the 44 level. We may just get to mid-range and then start to come back again, but you should be taking progressive profits anyway, right? So BTC dominance, it's on its last level. So this to me is an indicator that I'm looking at strongly in confluence with ETH BTC to get into alts. So we want to see that rejection, or in this case, the bounce, and then we want to see it make a higher high, and as well as higher lows to start developing that uptrend or downtrend if it's inverted. Sorry for confusing you if you're on your own charts. The third thing I'm looking at, and this one is pretty important in my opinion, is the total 2. So this is the crypto total market cap excluding Bitcoin. Very important indicator. And if it's not in your arsenal, I would recommend adding it to your arsenal, because the total 2 is basically an entire measure of the altcoin market. So it includes Ethereum, it includes all the alts, but it excludes Bitcoin. So it's similar to Bitcoin dominance, but instead of looking at it in percentage terms, you can look at it in total market cap terms. Why do we want total 2 to increase? Because if Bitcoin holds, right? So if Bitcoin's USD price actually holds above 30K and we see total 2 pumping, that would indicate that fresh liquidity is favoring altcoins over Bitcoin. If total 2 pumps and Bitcoin's dumping, that's an indicator to us that it's not fresh liquidity coming into the market. It's actually just liquidity rotating around the market, going from Bitcoin into altcoins and then probably back into Bitcoin. So the really bullish scenario for total 2 would be Bitcoin consolidating above 30K. So, maybe something like this, or maybe we even get the pump and then a consolidation below, whilst total 2 is actually breaking above this key level of resistance at the 670 level and holding. That would be a very strong sign for total 2, getting that pump in the midst of Bitcoin consolidation. Because if you think mentally about that image that we all know, the Altseason image with Bitcoin, ETH, large caps, mid caps, etc., we know that liquidity starts to favor ETH when we get into phase 2. So total 2 pumping, since it does include ETH, will give us a good indicator as to whether new liquidity is actually flowing into ETH. So total 2 is very important. Now, look, even if Bitcoin dumps, it could just mean there's a rotation into alts. That can be strong. I don't think it's as strong as new money coming into alts, but it can still be strong because Bitcoin's pumped. People take profits into altcoins. And in that case, you would really look at wanting to clear this 670 level. If we reject at this level and we come back down, that's okay. It probably means alts have had a massive dump, but then you can look at buying back at your range lows. I don't know if we get there. I think the chances of going higher before we go lower are in our favor, because this would mean basically like a 20 to 30% correction in the market. But if we do get a correction, you know where to cut. You cut at the rejection of this level, and then you look to buy back a bit lower. You probably start laddering in, because we can never time the bottom, and then look for your biggest entries in this zone here at the range. And if it's wrong, well, you might lose some money, but at least we know where to invalidate our trade, and that's under that range there. I don't think that happens, but it's good to have a plan in case it does happen with total 2. So total 2 is a chart that I'm looking at. If I zoom out, you can see the total trend here. We are currently in a range. A break of the top of the range would be quite good for alts. A rejection at the top of the range would mean, obviously, alts are pulling back. Or, well, no, that's exactly what it means. It means alts are pulling back because it's not in percentage terms. It's in total market cap terms. So unlike Bitcoin dominance, this actually tracks the total dollar amount, which is very important because that tells us where new liquidity is heading. So those are the 3 indicators I'm using. Of course, I line that up with what's happening with the ETH and BTC charts. We want strength in the US dollar pairs. because most of the market trades on the US dollar pairs. So strength and consolidation above key levels for ETH and BTC is very important. And then you pair that with an uptrend in the market cap of BTC, so BTC dominance, ETH, BTC, and total 2, and you're starting to get a very strong sign as to whether to get into alts. Now, you may be asking, do I need all of these indicators to line up to get into alts? Do I need the total market cap to consolidate above 670? Do I need ETH BTC to consolidate above 6.8? Do I need like everything to line up to get into alts? And the answer is no. So for me, it really depends on your risk profile. So if you're risk averse, you want more levels of confluence. But if you're more risk averse, you're going to miss that initial run. So if you're happy missing the initial run, but you really want confirmation that it's alt season, you'll wait for all of those indicators to line up. If you're in the middle, so if you have, you're moderately aggressive and you're not, fully aggressive, then the way you would play it is you'd look for maybe 2 of the 3 indicators to hit, or 1 of the 3 indicators to hit. Probably in the middle, though. Probably 2 indicators to hit would be your middle scenario. So you might exclude total 2, but you might say, look, ETH BTC looks good. It's just made another high. BTC dominance is starting to reject. That's 2 out of 3 signals. I'm comfortable starting to shift capital into ETH and alts as well. And if you're really, really risk on and you're really aggressive and you're a complete degen, you might say, look, I've already seen a rejection here on the BTC dominance, or a bounce of support if you're inverted. I've already seen an ETH BTC pump off the lows. I've already seen total 2 starting to pump. I'm happy to start taking positions now. And maybe you don't ape in all at once, but it's enough for you to start taking positions. And then as more indicators hit, you ladder in. And I would say I'm fairly risk on, like I'm a bit more of a degen. So that's kind of how I play it. Getting an initial entry, and our portfolios are initial entries, so most of you are already decently positioned in alts. But in terms of putting more in, you look for that initial shift of the trend, which we've gotten, and then you look for the second and the third indicators, which are making new highs on ETH BTC, looking for BTC dominance to start to reverse its trend officially, clear this level, and then you're also wanting the total 2 to start to break out, or at least consolidate above here. So every time a new indicator hits, that might be a time for you to DCA into the market. Now, I am going to look at individual alts now and try and contextualize this plan in practice, because I know maybe theoretically this might confuse you a bit. So I'm going to go through some of the biggest charts at the moment: the DOGE chart, the SOL chart, the Phantom chart, the NEAR chart, the AVAX chart, and I'm actually going to show you in practice exactly what this looks like, how to actually trade this. So now you've gotten the indicators of when alt season might be hitting. The onus is now on you to find the strongest altcoins. There's 2 very simple tips I would use to find the strongest altcoins. That's obviously excluding just being in crypto circles, being in tune with the market, consuming crypto content, seeing what people are saying on Twitter. That will give you an indicator as to what altcoins are hot and what altcoins are buzzing. But a very simple thing you can do is just track price. CoinGecko has it for you. CoinMarketCap has it for you. CoinBubbles has it for you. If you shift the time frames, you've got day, weekly, monthly. Find the altcoins that have been performing well in price terms. We know RPL's been performing well off the back of the LSD narrative. Aptos has started to catch a bid. Arbitrum starting to catch a bid from both of these, getting significant interest now in the Korean markets like Upbit. If you go into Arbitrum and then start to look at where the volume is starting to kick in, you can see where it's being traded. And you can start to see the exchanges that are kind of pumping the coins if you're more interested in that. So the price is like the most simple way of working out what has strength. The next thing you can do, if you want to go a bit deeper, is look at the open interest. Open interest is essentially the amount of open contracts. So, people trading leverage, open positions, open orders on coins. You can look at the open interest on coinalyze.net shift over the last 24 hours. And actually, Paolo, if you have time, definitely put this in the description so people have the link to it, so you guys can just use it in the description. If you look at the change by open interest, you'll see which protocols are starting to gain steam. We know Joe has been super strong off the back of its new product upgrade. You would have seen a few weeks ago, open interest on Joe was really starting to increase, and that's continuing. And that was signaling many people starting to buy. So that would have been an indicator to get in. Radiant Capital is performing well because the Arbitrum ecosystem is starting to get some pumps. We're seeing Arbitrum also pump. Flocky's performing well, basically just because it's a meme coin and people like to speculate on it. But there's also coins I don't know about, like Venus and Space and OG Fan Token, that they're pumping so much, it may be an indicator for you to research more. I do prefer tokens, though, that have high amounts of volume. This Venus thing, although it's like 8x in its volume, it's only 14.5 mil. So for me, I like trading liquid tokens. I look for 500 million plus open interest. This has a lot of open interest, and like this has nothing, this OG fan token, so I'd probably disregard that. Joe's decent. It's not quite high enough for me, but it's decent. And then obviously Arbitrum, these are your big coins with billions of dollars worth of volume. These are going to be the most easy ones to trade based on sticking to price structure, because the more open interest, the more they stick to price structure generally, and the less crazy wicks you get. Illiquid tokens tend to have crazy wicks, and it's easier to get wrecked. So if you're trading altcoins, the first thing you want to do is find the strength. Price and open interest are two ways you can do it. The next thing you want to do is look at their BTC pairs. BTC pairs are the most important charts that you should be watching. Right now, in this environment, after a Bitcoin pump, with a very strong Bitcoin-led narrative, and now what we're seeing, like maybe a slight rotation into alts, it's very important now to actually pay more attention to the Bitcoin pairs than the USD pairs. So I think a lot of traders make the mistake of only looking at the USD pairs and saying, oh my God, this is pumping, that's pumping, Solana's pumping, but they're actually still bleeding versus Bitcoin. Why does that matter? Because money's money, right? Well, yes, but your risk profile definitely matters, because if you're trading altcoins, but you could have just sat on your hands, bought Bitcoin, took on less risk because it's less volatile, and it's a much more liquid market. So if you're trading leverage, you're much less likely to get stopped out. It just makes no sense to be in altcoins in that situation if Bitcoin's performing, because it's just the much better risk reward proposition. So your goal as a trader is to always outperform Bitcoin. If you're not outperforming Bitcoin, what's the point? You may as well just sat in Bitcoin and take it on less risk and actually sleep at night. So if you're trading and you're trying to make money in the market over, the medium, long term, short term, whatever your time horizon is, but generally over the long term, we try and outperform Bitcoin, because this allows us to actually use our altcoin profits to accumulate more Bitcoin. Now, I don't know what your goals are as traders. You might just want money, and that's completely fine. But my personal goal, at least one of them, as well as making money, is actually to make more Bitcoin, because I view Bitcoin as potential hard money in the future, and I want to accumulate hard money. So the way that I do this is I make profits on chain, I scrape them, I take them off chain, and I put it in a hard wallet, and I just stack Bitcoin. The only way I can stack Bitcoin is if I outperform Bitcoin. If I don't outperform Bitcoin, then, what's the point? I may as well have just bought Bitcoin, sat on my hands, hodled, and then I can actually get some sleep at night, right? Versus like trading altcoins, which is much riskier and more stressful. So the aim of a good trader is to identify strength in BTC terms. So that is why the Bitcoin charts for me right now are just as, if not more important, than the USD pairs. Now, you want to use both in confluence with each other. So you want to identify strong BTC altcoin setups, and then also look at their USD denominated pairs and work out whether the trends are lining up. For me, Dogecoin is one of them. It is looking pretty good on the BTC pair. I'm going to do a video on this later. There's a speculation ahead of 420. A lot of these altcoins are bottoming out on their Bitcoin pairs and starting to reverse. So Dogecoin's an interesting one. You're seeing it at the bottom of its Bitcoin pair now, at the bottom of its range. Buying support on the Bitcoin pairs is not always a bad play. It's not a bad place to average in, because you've got clear invalidation. Now, you want to work out where the invalidation is and adjust your leverage accordingly. If you're trading, spot, you can be a bit more lenient with your entries, because you can enter and then, even if it comes down and sweeps these previous lows, then, you're losing 25%. It's not really the end of the world on spot. 25% on leverage will stop you out, or get you liquidated. So you have to be much more careful. If you're trading on leverage, maybe even like take the leverage right down to 2-3x if you're trying to average in, right? So just be careful about that. But Dogecoin in this general accumulation range at the bottom of its BTC pair. I'm going to do a video on this later, but basically the TLDR is we've got 420 coming, maybe an announcement. And I just think risk reward on Doge isn't horrible, considering it had this huge pump, this huge Twitter pump, because the logo was changed on Twitter, and then it basically reversed all its gains very quickly. And usually when we see something like this for Doge, the next kind of announcement can reverse things very quickly. So I think Dogecoin's not horrible risk reward wise. It may fail. It may be too early. But averaging into Doge, I don't think it's a terrible play. Solana on its Sol pair looks very good. in terms of its BTC pair. It just bounced off the bottom of its range. It held. It did have a small deviation below. So once again, got to be careful of where you place your stop based on what leverage you're using. But it did deviate below. But generally held its range. So Solana's starting to look good. And then obviously, if you look at the USD pair for Solana, it's also starting to look quite good. I'll actually get up the USD pair for you just to kind of match up the confluence and show you what I'm seeing. For Sol, where is it here? The trading list, and then Solana USD. You'll see that it is approaching a very key level, and we did have a breakout on the daily. If I go to the daily. Okay, so we broke out of this range that I've had identified for quite some time, had multiple tests on the Sol USD chart, came back down, created a range low, started to create a flag, and then broke out to the flag to the upside, basically like adhered exactly to market structure, up 22%. This is your first TP zone for Solana, but you've got your next TP zone at $27 to $30. Sol can go higher. On the USD chart, it also can go down to $20 again. So you want to watch Sol BTC. You want to see if we can continue to maintain an uptrend. If we do, I think Solana can push up to 27 to 30, and that becomes a decent trade. So I'm just kind of showing you guys, you got to line it up with USD. Would I open a Sol long right now? I'm not sure because we're into resistance on the USD pair. So the confluence here isn't as strong. Whereas other coins like Doge, if we go to the Doge chart, you have confluence with BTC and USD. So it's important to look at both charts and line them up rather than just trading solely on the Bitcoin chart. Unless you hold Bitcoin and you have too much Bitcoin and you want to buy alts with that Bitcoin, then you don't give a shit about the USD chart. So if I have just Bitcoin and I'm trying to make more Bitcoin, then I would consider trading out some Bitcoin for Sol because I'm not looking at the USD chart. Whereas if you're putting in fresh capital, you need to line up the two to make sure things are sound. On the Doge US chart, your confluence is consolidation above 88. So if we start to consolidate here, then that would be a good level for me to take along in the USD, on the USD pair and look for these upwards targets again. So that's what I'm seeing for Doge, also bottoming on BTC as well. Doesn't look terrible, but let's see. Hopefully I can get like an 8.4 entry. That would be slightly better. Then you've got like decent invalidation below it, like 7.9. So that's just one idea for Doge. But I'm going through many altcoins now to kind of frame where we sit. Phantom USD looks pretty good. It broke above its horizontal range here. Let's have a look at Phantom BTC though. Altcoin BTC pairs. Look at Phantom BTC. Okay, this is yellow, and I don't like yellow because it's too hard to see on these charts. There we go. Make it blue, and make that blue. So this is what I'm seeing on Phantom BTC. We've had a significant pullback. We actually have bounced off our horizontal support at this zone. We're tucking slightly below now, so I would want it to clear that level, and then I'll show you on the brush, clear that level, and then, consolidate above, looking for that upwards target of 0.2 on the Bitcoin chart. That would, by the way, be quite a big move. It doesn't look big on my charts. You might say, well, that's a tiny move, but it's actually a 20% pump. That's a pretty big move. That's a pretty damn big move. So you want to use confluence with Phantom BTC and Phantom USD. So a break above there would be good for Phantom. And then we look on the Bitcoin chart, again, all BTC pairs. Sorry, the USD chart again, so Phantom USD, and we can see that it actually has broken above. So if it can hold on the USD pair and break on the Bitcoin pair, then I'd be interested in Phantom. Near Protocol as well, reaching its support. Many alts, Doge, Sol, Near, AVAX, all these alts are actually on critical BTC supports. Near could go a little bit lower. We have this region here where it deviated below before it pushed up and broke its range high. So I would definitely watch this zone as a potential zone that we could bounce at. If I draw it up really loosely, it would be like the 5-3 zone. Sorry for my crappy line drawing. But in this zone, I think for near Bitcoin would be a decent one. AVAX is actually already in its zone, and it's having its bounce. So a lot of alts now on their kind of final Bitcoin supports, which isn't bad because it's pretty easy to set your stop loss when you've got like a clear invalidation. And just lining up the AVAX on the AVAX BTC pair. And by the way, this isn't really for leverage. I'm not really using a lot of leverage on these trades. I want to be clear that when I'm buying alts, I'm buying with mostly spot and low leverage. Why? because I don't want to try and time the exact bottom. I don't want to time the exact breakout. For me, this is general rotational positioning to capture what could be a rally. It's not me saying, oh my God, there's going to be a rally, I need to like leverage the fuck up. No, the leverage and the risk taking comes later when all my indicators have confirmed. The 3 indicators we talked about earlier, when all of these indicators confirm ETH BTC, Bitcoin bouncing, the total 2 breakout, then you can start looking at crazy leverage upside trades. But I wouldn't try and catch a falling knife on some of the old BTC pairs. That's what I wouldn't do. I would use those levels to work out, okay, we hit one of the 3 indicators, I can go slightly more risk on. We hit another, I go slightly more risk on. I do another, I go slightly more risk on. And in that process, as you're making profits, you move your stops up. Even on spot, you can move your stops up. So the AVAX Tether pair as well, starting to look interesting. Actually could be breaking out soon. So if we look, I'm just going to change my color here. At AVAX, looking close to a breakout. The breakout target to the upside, this is on the USD pair, by the way, is actually $30. So this could be quite a big move if we do end up breaking out. And if we look at the AVAX BTC pair, we can also see that it's low. So this is like the perfect chart. This is a great example of what I'm trying to say. Look for altcoins with confluence with USD and BTC. So you're getting the bounce on BTC potentially. So we're looking for this to create like a swing low and then break the next level, kind of like a cup and handle. So we're looking for this kind of pattern on AVAX Bitcoin. And then what we're also looking for, and these will likely happen in tandem with each other, is a breakout of the diagonal trend. And then you've got upwards targets. You know, you'd probably take some profits mid-range, move your stop up, and then look to take more profits, higher. So AVAX actually looks really good. I think NIA looks decent as well. So that just gives you an example. So what I would recommend doing, something actionable, is this. Create a watch list called Alt/BTC pairs. In fact, let me do something. Let me share the list. Let me copy the link to the list. So I've just copied it to my link board. I've just sent it to our producer, 𝗟𝗲𝗍, and she's actually going to put this watch list in the description for you. So you're going to have this watch list of the alt BTC pairs to add to your own TradingView. And let me just check that the link actually worked. TradingView watch lists, alt BTC pairs. There you go. You've actually, you've now got the link that you can add to your own TradingView. So now you've got this. Start adding pairs you like. Do you like 𝗖𝗍𝗽𝗫? Do you like what do you like trading? Do you like Aptos BTC? Do you like 𝗓𝗏𝗽𝗫? I don't have all the pairs here. I've just got like the major alts, but start to add some of the alts that you like trading. So you have a nice watch list that you can actually go through and work out when alts are looking good on their BTC pairs. And then you can also have an altcoin list, which will have so this is called trading list, which will have all the USD pairs. So you can line them up together with each other. That would be my alpha in terms of creating, it's not really alpha, it's just organizing yourself, right? In terms of creating like a structure for you to be able to like identify confluence there. So the NIA chart I said looked quite good. I think the reason why it looks good is because the metrics were pretty strong on 𝗓𝗏. So it showed a decent Q1 2023, hit all-time high in active wallets, got more decentralized, and released the BOS. Little updates starting to happen for L1s. I'm seeing price action for L1s getting better. And it's because we're starting... See, I think news often does follow price, at least in these cases. But we are starting to see some news coming out about L1s, which have been pretty terrible performers, right, over the last 6 months relative to Bitcoin. But and you can see this because all the Bitcoin pairs have been bleeding. Look at NIA Bitcoin, for example, like completely bleeding. But, we're starting to see some decent announcements come out, maybe a bit of the tables turning now for some of these L1s. You saw the Avalanche announcement as well, that they are joining with some TradFi firms to essentially offer them subnet capabilities. So Wisdom Tree, T-Row, and a few of these other firms are using the Avalanche's subnets. I know like not everyone's a huge fan of enterprise / centralized chains, but to be honest, it is a use case because these companies, although they're not decentralized, can benefit from the speed and security of some of these L1s, and then also get, they're kind of able to make their transactions faster, utilizing the benefits of blockchain, although, it's not exactly like truly decentralized in that case. But the Avalanche network, I'd say it's relatively centralized, but it's becoming more centralized. So those are my 3 indicators to find out whether alts are looking strong in a general sense. And then obviously once you've identified them, then you want to look at altcoins that are looking strong in a specific sense. And then that will marry things up. I'll just tell you what I'm doing quickly. This isn't financial advice. Because remember what I said before. I said the way you approach altcoins is going to be based on your risk tolerance. You may wait for all three indicators to line up if you're more risk averse. If you're risk on, you may start taking a bit of a punt now and averaging in based on more indicators that hit, or you may go all in now. For me, I'm really I'm not too exposed to alts. I still hold more Bitcoin than alts. I haven't transferred some out. I'm starting to transfer little bits out. And I'm starting to pick off altcoins I think look good. For example, I think AVAX could look good on that breakout. It's one I'm interested in. I think Doge looks quite good now. Those might be like the only two I'm looking at right now. There are a few other alts. I think Phantom, if it breaks, could look good very soon. So it's really for me just about monitoring the pairs, looking for confluence. And when we get them, then I think there could be a rotation. Most of that is invalidated if Bitcoin dominance breaks below. It may not, though. It may reverse here, and then altcoins can perform quite well. I know that Fabian thinks he expects, and I really respect this guy's opinion, and opinions are just opinions, but he expects capital to flow more into alts over the next few weeks. But he thinks in the next few months, a real risk-off event will come, that we won't have conditions to sustain a rally until we get to the other side of that. I would agree with this. I don't think this altcoin season is what other alt seasons have been. I think what this will be potentially is an altcoin rotation, because Bitcoin's pumped so much, alts have bled. I think we see a bounce, and I'll look to exit most of my alt positions again after the bounce, because I think we could see like quite an aggressive move to the downside at some point. So I'm not in this camp that this is a new bull run forever and we're going up only. This isn't, I think, a shorter term rotation. And I think like your traditional altcoin season, like your really explosive altcoin season, only really comes after Bitcoin on a real macro sense makes a new high, or at least like consolidates above, pretty key levels, 40 to 45K, and like holds. And yeah, then alts can absolutely rip. But there are still headwinds. So for me, it's not a time to be like, oh my God, new bull run, we got to ape now. It's kind of like long term, you're going to get those entries, probably lower than they are today. But if you're trying to take advantage of, what could be a rotation in the shorter term, and by shorter term, I mean probably 1 to 3 months, then I don't think alts look terrible if you implement proper risk management. So I do think we see a capital flow, altcoin rotation like in May 2020. I can't remember altcoin. Yes, it could be like that. It could be like that, but that was more of a DeFi summer. I don't know if we have the catalyst that May 2020 had. If you guys remember, that was when DeFi protocols really started to explode. We don't really have that altcoin catalyst. Could it be China coins? Could it be AI coins? I feel like it needs to be something to really pump the alts, because right now it's really just a matter of Bitcoin profits rotating into Ethereum and some major caps, and then that's it. There's not really that. I don't see the explosive catalyst, but I do see catalysts, even though they may not be explosive. So I want to get into a couple more really important things that were announced yesterday, relating to Twitter and also relating to a few market catalysts. But before we do that, I want to remind you, if you want to trade any coins that I talked about today, or just any coins in general, then you can do so on OKX and simultaneously qualify for the trading comp. So it's basically a giveaway where every single 2 weeks, I was going to say every single week, but now it's every 2 weeks, we give away a prize. So on the 17th of April, the Man City FC tickets will be given away for a $5,000 reward. That's the cutoff date. The actual announcement, which will be on my show, by the way, of who the winner is, will be probably like Monday or Tuesday after. But that's when the cutoff is, 17th of April. Then from the 18th of April, so the very next day, you can start to qualify for the 7-night holiday in the Maldives, which is up to $7,500. You can take the cash or the holiday, so whatever you want. And then for the month of May, or 20 days of May, the Tesla giveaway is taking place. So that is a potential $50,000 reward, or a Tesla, which is absolutely crazy. Like, this is, I think, the biggest giveaway we've done on Banter since the bull run. So this is pretty insane. So if you want to participate, there's a link in the description. And remember, the minimum requirement is trading $1. So if you just deposit $1, you'll get 1 raffle ticket. But if you want to earn more raffle tickets, the more you trade, the more you earn. So if you build up to $10,000 in USDT trading volume, including leverage or including spot, don't go stupid with the leverage. Make sure you trade responsibly and don't force any trades you wouldn't normally do. You can build up 5 raffle tickets at a time and get to this level 7. So link in the description to that if you're not already in, and to the guys that are in, good luck. I hope you can win a big prize here. We have some pretty big ones on the horizon soon. So link in the description for that. All right, a few news bits and a few interesting takes that I saw this morning on Twitter. Crypto Ohm said, although we're tackling resistance, there are a lot of bullish indicators. CPI met/beat expectations. That's true. PPI also fell from 4.9 to 2.7% in a month. This is the largest monthly drop since inflation peaked in 2022. We saw CPI come in 1% lower than the previous year. Than the previous month. And we also saw the 9th consecutive month of CPI, aka inflation, dropping. So it's a good indicator that inflation is starting to come down. The market, though, didn't really react. The market was stagnant post CPI, largely, in my opinion, because it was already pricing in a significant drop in inflation, and it was already pricing in a rate cut in July. And the market typically is forward-looking, and the actual probability of the next FOMC did not change. So we're still expecting a 25 basis point hike in May. Then in June, we're expecting a pause. When I say expecting, I mean this is what the market probabilities are showing us. And then in July, we're expecting our first rate cut and then another pause after. So that's kind of the blueprint the market's anticipating now. Anything different to that, we get significant repricing of risk assets. Anything in line with that, I think we continue to see a stagnant market. I'm more referring to the stock market when I say stagnant, though, because crypto kind of just does its own thing a little bit. Although it does follow macro, I wouldn't be surprised if ETH pumps, even if the macro stays the same. S&P, though, probably needs a catalyst. And it is approaching resistance, although it actually did have its second highest daily close of the year today. So huge move on the S&P overnight. Bitcoin didn't really pump like it usually would when the S&P has a move like this. That was because Bitcoin already, from a pure correlation beta perspective, has been outperforming the stock market. So I am seeing maybe a slight recorrelation there, because Bitcoin can't stay uncorrelated forever. Good morning from Australia as well. Otter, hope you're having a nice day. It's 10 a.m. here in Australia. I know it's probably 8 p.m. if you're in the US, or super late if you're in Europe. If you watch my shows and you're in Europe, you're a G. Thank you for watching the shows, because they are super, super late for you guys, but I appreciate it. If you can always just watch it in the morning, though. I'm sure there's a lot of people that watch the show, maybe when they wake up and stuff like that. Sorry they're so long. I would love to make shorter shows, but I have too much stuff to share every single day. So I need to try and do shorter shows, I think. But maybe some of you like the longer format. I don't know. But yeah, we'll try and wrap up underneath an hour today. We see Twitter partnering with eToro. This was huge news to let partners trade stocks and crypto. We're seeing Musk now shift Twitter to what he wants it to be, and that's the X everything app. So they're giving people the option to buy and sell stocks from eToro. If you guys don't know eToro, it's a trading platform where you can trade CFDs, contracts for differences. Funnily enough, my first Bitcoin buy, maybe some of you think this is blasphemous, but my first major Bitcoin buy actually I think was on eToro. Or one of my first major Bitcoin buys was on eToro. And I also bought Ripple and Ethereum. And it's funny because that account is what set up my account for the bull run back in 2018 or 2019 after the dip. I think I got an entry at 5K on Bitcoin, and the Bitcoin that I bought on eToro later became pretty significant. And then I, closed my position on eToro, and then I moved it across to an actual exchange so I could own my own Bitcoin. But for the purpose of trading, it was actually quite good because it was easy to on-ramp. We didn't have as many on-ramps in Australia at the time. I think we just had Binance. So yeah, that interesting anecdote there that I actually used it as a trader. You can actually copy trade on there as well, which is quite interesting. If I was doing that, and I think I think I made really good money, and then the pandemic crash happened, and then we saw a recovery after. So I switched between a few copy traders at the time. But anyway, I digress. So yeah, Musk trying to make Twitter into the super app, which will offer financial services on top of social media. Going to be interesting about how the regulators view this. But I mean, if we think of it objectively from a crypto perspective, it's only a net positive. Crypto guys are on Twitter a lot, and just the general population is on Twitter a lot. Maybe not as much as Facebook and Instagram, but they're still on there a decent amount. And this is just now a very easy way to buy stocks and crypto through Twitter. I'm very curious, though, how it works with regs. I assume you'll need to KYC on eToro, and I don't know if eToro is built into the Twitter app or if it simply diverts traffic, but I think it still is bullish. Someone said Doge, Twitter, eToro. Yeah, low-key. Doge 420, don't fade some payments announcement from Elon. I'm not saying it will happen, but I don't know. I got a feeling that something's coming for Doge soon. And maybe I'm just stupid, but the charts are good and my feeling's good. So I'll buy some Doge and piss off, basically. T-Nut, another trader I really respect. He said, if looking, and he's very similar to what I mentioned in this show, if looking for alt longs, here's his checklist. Above major EMAs on the daily, check. BTC pairs at support, check. I identified a few alts for you that are at support. You now have a whole list in the description to identify more supports that you can go through yourself in your own time. He also said it's above, breaking back from range highs from the 9-month consolidation. A lot of alts haven't, but they're looking like they want to break above. And he said you can have your own indicators. So I would add ETH BTC to that and Total 2 to that. But yeah, I think what he's saying is good. So it's all about having your own checklist. Get a piece of paper like I did and write down your checklist for buying alts. Just have a plan. Having a plan is better than having a plan. I see a lot of people trading. They don't really know what they're doing. And if you're in this box, it's okay. I did this for years. And I still do this sometimes. It's just opening like trades because I feel like it or because I think the setup looks good. And that's fine. But having like a written down exhaustive list is good. You can do it digitally. You can do it on paper. But have that checklist for when you buy an altcoin and have your clear invalidation for when you sell an altcoin. And you'll just become a better trader. So just be consistent. You don't know if your system's bad until you have a system. So if you trade without a system, you'll never know how to become a better trader because you can't tweak it. It's very important to journal when you're trading and very important to write down what works after every trade, what didn't work after every trade, and then you can reflect on it and improve your system. Your brain's an algorithm, but it does need some help. So it needs some help from past information because it doesn't always remember. You need to write that information down. And then you can become a better trader and build that mental algorithm over time. Another very interesting announcement I saw, and I think this could lead to some alpha, not now, but when it launches, which is going to be very soon, I think in the next couple of months, or next month, by the way, is 𝗬𝗏's testnet breaking Solana's throughput. So Aptos launched, and I think they rushed it a little bit, actually, Aptos. I think it's a decent chain, but I think it was rushed, and I think 𝗬𝗏's approach has been better, which is let's go slower. Let's not rush. Let's not hype this crazy airdrop. Someone wants airdrop alpha. Don't worry. That's coming. It's funny. The 𝗬𝗏 founder has said time and time again they're not doing an airdrop. Usually, I take that as an indicator that they could be because Ed from Arbitrum said they weren't doing an airdrop. Lo and behold, they did an airdrop. However, he was really adamant this time. I don't know if you saw his tweets, but he was like, I'm not doing an airdrop. I don't want to say it again. It's not happening. Stop spreading FUD. And I was like, oh, holy shit. So I actually think they might not do an airdrop. Like, I thought they definitely were, but he was like really adamant that they weren't. And usually you wouldn't be that adamant if you were sure. So I don't know about the 𝗬𝗏 airdrop now. Bit disappointing because I've been on testnet for a while. Didn't really cost me any money, but it cost me a fair bit of time. Not much, maybe like 15 minutes a week. Maybe we'll still get rewarded. I know in their docs, they're still giving away like a couple % to incentives. So what does that mean? Does that mean project incentives or airdrop incentives? I don't know. But just from pure network perspective, this is damn impressive. And I'm interested to see if 𝗬𝗏 is actually a better product than Aptos, which I've said this for the last year. I think it actually is. And I think it's a better product. And I'm very interested to see what happens when it launches. So, because I know the Move programming language probably gives you like arbitrary number, but like a 5 to 10x improvement on Solidity in terms of like speed and efficiency and security of coding. Developers like that. We've seen the Aptos ecosystem grow, but I think 𝗬𝗏 has a shot. It's just getting people to adopt non-EVM networks becomes difficult in this market. But this is probably your biggest Solana competitor now. And there's not many chains that aren't EVM, which have their own ecosystems that are fast and quick apart from Sol. So I think there's like not a gap in the market because we have enough block space, but at least a gap in like a little niche for 𝗬𝗏 to perform well. So what I would do is just wait. It's launching in a month. So no alpha right now, but there will be projects on 𝗬𝗍 that will launch and take advantage of its speed. And I'm pretty excited to research them when they're out. You can already start researching upcoming projects when they do have their tokens. If the tokenomics are good, or even if the platforms are good, you can probably start airdrop farming on them, and as well looking at positioning yourself in some of the ecosystem tokens. So that's something I'm looking at. He said the founder of 𝗬𝗍, co-founder CPO at Mr. Labs, 𝗏𝗍𝗍𝗍, he's also 𝗏𝗏𝗍𝗍𝗍. How do you say his name? I don't know. 𝗏𝗏𝗍𝗍𝗍. Anyway, I'll just say it like 𝗏𝗏𝗍𝗍𝗍 says that the numbers are accurate. You haven't seen anything yet. He's also the one that said they're not doing an airdrop. Doesn't have a lot of followers. Let's get this man's follower count up. But no, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with 𝗬𝗍 when it launches. If you want to trade any of the alts on a DEX, by the way, 𝗔𝗣𝗫 is a decent place to do it. It's got a lot of pairs. So 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏. I actually quickly want to look at the 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏 chart because I think it did have a move. And well, no, I know it did have a move because I own some. But I want to see what's happening. Yeah, this is good. This is good from 𝗪𝗏𝗏. What I would want to see from 𝗪𝗏𝗏 is just a little retest like this. Hopefully not a rejection, but a little retest. This level, 132. It might not get there. It might get to like 134. I think that's a decent place to long. And then, yeah, ride that thing. I'm still in my airdrop bag. I got a decent bag, so I'm not desperate to ape into 𝗪𝗏𝗏 because I already own enough. But, well, for me at least, because I don't want huge exposure. But if you're not in, look at this level as kind of like your last level to buy. And I think it does go lower, by the way. But I'm saying for now, your last level in the shorter term. And then have your stop loss below. To be honest, I wouldn't use much leverage on this because 129 looks like your stop. And 129 from your entry is like, actually, no, you can. That's a good stop. Yep, it's fine. 3%, 5x leverage, 15%. It's not much capital to risk. So that could be a decent trade setup. Hoping for a bounce, of course, and then continuation. Hopefully want to swing past this mid-range and then look to continue to the range highs. That's your first TP, and then if we break above, then we'll have to reconsider. But that's a decent setup on 𝗪𝗏𝗏. So yeah, if you want to trade in the alts, including 𝗪𝗏𝗏, you can do so on 𝗔𝗣𝗫. Link in the description. It is a perp DEX built on the Arbitrum network as well as Polygon, but they have a lot of pairs. So for the guys that want flexibility, you can also trade Forex and stuff. If you want flexibility and a lot of options, you can do it on 𝗔𝗣𝗫. If you're not a leverage trader and you want to trade spot, and for me, I do trade a lot of spot because it just gives me more flexibility instead of having to time the market. Obviously, need more capital to be a big spot trader, but I still obviously recommend trading spot because, well, you don't screw yourself on leverage. Then I would consider doing it on KyberSwap because it'll route for the best routes for you. So let's say you want Aave, then it'll route through SushiSwap to get you the best rate, and it automatically recalibrates to get you the best trade route. And you've got all these networks to choose from. So yeah, if you want automatic best trade route, lowest fees, KyberSwap will aggregate on a chain of your choice and get you the best rates. Now to end the show, let's do a Q&A quickly. 5 minutes, don't have much time. I'll do a rapid fire. I'll speak fast, answer questions bluntly, and let's just answer some questions. And links in the description to any of the trading, obviously OKX giveaway, as well as KyberSwap and 𝗔𝗣𝗫, etc. in the description. Okay, quickly. Buy 𝗧𝗏𝗍𝗏 or regret it later. Not sure about 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏. Look, if you have, let's say 10,000 in Doge, maybe 500 in 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏 makes sense just for a little bit of degenning, but yeah, I don't know about it. I wouldn't recommend that. Total 3 just breakout. Let me just look quickly at total 3. Total 3 will disclude ETH as well. Exclude, not disclude. It's not even a word. Total 3 will exclude ETH and BTC. Total 3, I prefer total 2. Okay, I'm just drawing random shit now. It broke out of that trend, yes, but we all know diagonals aren't as strong as horizontals. So if we look, and I want to also get rid of this line because it's dumb. If we look at the horizontal trend, you have this as a key level that we haven't broken above. So no, actually looks like a cup and handle. So I expect a pullback, something like this. Your cup, your handle, maybe down to this zone, and then hopefully a break above. That's what I would look at total 3. Someone wants Link. Link is a stable coin. I can already tell you that right now, but I'll quickly get the Link chart up for you. So Link. Yep, absolute stable coin. Don't even know why people hold USDT. Just hold Link. Range. Until we break out of the upside, I mean, I wouldn't even bother. Just look for strength. You guys know the ways to look for strength. SHIB preferred Doge right now. If I had to, FXS doing work. FXS doing work. FSS. I mean, I like Lido and Rocket Pool. I also like Frax. I have some spot Frax, which is performing well. Oh my goodness. The wick just missed our buy zone. I think we could still get back down there though. It's in like either look for an SR flip or wait for a pullback, and then this is your buy zone. You've got invalidation there as well. Just be mindful of deviation wick below. Let's have a look at some other things quickly. Idle Finance, don't know much about it. CKB, that's under the Asian narrative, which is the actually no, it's not. That's I'm thinking that this is Nervous Network. I'm getting it mixed up with CF. Yeah, approaching resistance, but general uptrend. I would look at the BTC pair here because I would look for like a resumption. I would look for something like a bit of strength. You could draw it like this, but it's not really how I would draw it. UOS, interesting. I saw Lady of Crypto did a thread on UOS today, so it is interesting. Very quick. Obviously use the Bitcoin pairs. I'm just looking at USD pairs now quickly, but obviously only trade alts in confluence with BTC. You've got this zone here that you would need to clear. We haven't cleared it yet. It is looking good that you're getting higher lows, but this is the zone for USD, and then quickly let me look at BTC. Come on, load. Yeah, you've got a downtrend. Let me try and draw something in here. Very rough, crazy wicks on the BTC chart. Becomes difficult to trade, but yeah, not really doing much. So you could probably draw it like that. And yeah, the BTC, yeah, would need to break above that level. You could even argue it's approaching support, but for me, I think it has a lot of resistance here. So it's kind of what I'm looking at for UOS. Maybe a decent place to start looking at it, but the USD pair obviously hasn't broken above. So you want that to happen as well as the Bitcoin pair. Pumping, charted that before. Smash the likes, of course. What was that buy zone? What was it? USBTC is 917. And then you've got your breakout at 3315 or 3319. All right, cool. I gotta go because I promised myself I'd keep this under an hour. It was supposed to be half an hour. It was double that because I have too much alpha. But looks like I'll just need to put out videos this weekend. Lots of good content coming on the weekend. So turn post notifications on. Lots of good content. I have a massive interview tomorrow that I think you'll love. I have a Dogecoin video, which I hope you love. And then what else do I have? There's one more video as well. There is one more video as well. I'm just forgetting exactly what it is. But yeah, I've got lots of weekend content dropping. So thank you guys for joining the stream. Make your checklists with your indicators for when to get into alts. And if you want to trade, there's links in the description. I will see you in the next show, which will be on the weekend. Hope you have a great Friday if you're in Australia, Thursday if you are in America or Europe, probably ticking into Friday as well. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.